'twas the time of the preacher.
I used to be such a nice guy.
Well, for a man that don't go healed, you run your mouth kind of reckless, don't you?
It's a little too early for being that loud. Hey, too late.
What an incredible Cinderella story. This unknown comes out of nowhere.
I guess I'm the only one that remains unaffiliated.
Welcome to the 4-1 podcast, where for 4 minutes we tackle one topic. Right now I want to talk to you about fruitfulness. Fruitfulness, that means producing something. You see, there's a lot of talk out there from people, leaders who are trying to encourage other leaders who are saying, fruitfulness really doesn't matter. What really matters is faithfulness. And I get where they're coming from, and so I'm not trying to ridicule that or diminish their platform or what they may be saying or maybe even what you think, but I do want to challenge you to think a little bit differently. You see, faithfulness is important. Being faithful to God's an important part of following Him, but ultimately that faithfulness produces fruit. And fruitfulness does matter. And that's entrusted to us. You see, faithfulness in and of itself is not enough. It's just not sufficient. And thinking that it is concerns me a bit. It's like I think about my marriage. I love my wife, Summer, and I'm faithful to her. But that's not enough for a healthy marriage. That's not sufficient. It's not like if I just looked at her and said, I don't understand your problem, honey. I mean, I know we don't communicate. I know we don't spend time together. I know we don't go out on dates, but, I've been faithful. What's the issue? Well, some might argue that's not really being faithful. Being faithful would be investing in the relationship. See, I think that's part of the problem is sometimes we think, well, I'm faithful to God, and what that means is that I don't sin as much as maybe I used to. Or I show up. Yeah, showing up's important, but there's more to it. You see, God expects us to be fruitful. He commands us to be fruitful. There ought to be an expectation in our hearts that our lives would produce some amazing fruit. There's the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Yes, 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 and yes, yes, and yes. I want all of it. By the way, it's the fruit of the Spirit, not the fruits. It's not like a pick and choose type of buffet. It's something that the Holy Spirit will produce, and it's all of it. And so you don't want to leave any of it out. It's not like, I'll take some love and maybe some joy and a little peace, but scratch the self-control. No, the fruit of the Spirit is all of those things. But that's just the evidence. What about what we're producing? There ought to be more people in the kingdom of heaven because of the way that we follow Jesus and the way that we lead our lives. You see, that's the expectation. Jesus tells a parable of the talents, where he talks about a master, a businessman who's going on a journey. And before he leaves, he calls his servants in and he entrusts his wealth to his servants, each according to his ability. To one he gives 5 talents, to another he gives 2, and to another he gives 1. And then he goes on his journey. And immediately the one who had 5 talents, he gets to work. He gets after it. It's his master's money, man. He's not going to waste time. He's going to do his master's business. He's going to get after it. And he quickly produces a return on that investment. It doubles. The same with the guy who had 2. He puts it to work. Right? It's his master's money. He's going to do with it what his master wants, and he puts it to work. But the one who had been given 1 talent, well, he was afraid. He was scared of his master. And so he went outside and he dug a hole in the ground and he buried it. Well, the master comes back. And when the master comes back, he comes to settle accounts with his servants. And guess what? The one who had 10, now, he can't wait to see the master. He's first in line. He's like, welcome home, master. So glad you're back. Hey, here's the money you entrusted me. Plus it doubled. Here's 5 more. And he says, well done, good and faithful servant. The same with the one who had been given 2. Now it's 4. But the one who had given 1, he came in last. Wasn't too excited to see his master. And he says, okay, look, here's the deal. I dug a hole. I buried it. Here's what you gave me. And the master said, you wicked, lazy servant. What'd you do that for? You see, you didn't squander it. You didn't steal it. You didn't waste it. You just didn't invest it. You didn't produce anything with it. And so I want you to think about your life right now. This has been entrusted to you, this life. What are you doing with it? Are you investing it in God's kingdom? Are you making the most of it? Or out of fear, have you simply buried it in the ground and you're just waiting around to die? You see, it's not about just being faithful. It's really about being fruitful. And praying for one will help you do that. Don't stop.